So I want to talk a little more about Sesame Street. So I know in the early days you guys shot a lot really quickly. How long would it take to shoot an episode?
Well, it's much different today than compared to years ago. Years ago, we used to do 2 half-hour two shows a day. Yeah, it was 2 shows a day. But it's only, when I say a show, it's only 20 minutes. Sometimes 15, sometimes 25. There's so many inserts. Because we used to do, I think it was 120 shows a year. And we used to do 2 shows a day. But they were quick shows. We did weeks. And part of that criteria, the curriculum, whatever you could not call it,
Yeah, the curriculum.
curriculum,
Yep.
that we did a lot of inserts. And they used to roll in the inserts. And they did more inserts than video. Video was only maybe 15 to 20 minutes at that time. And then they hired a director who was a soap opera director. Really. He came in and he used to say, oh, it's a 2-shot, they're talking, or a 3-shot, everything, the camera there, you take him, then they go in, you take 1, take 2, take 3. That's it. It's good. We used to get out no time. We used to be up at 3 o'clock in the afternoon doing 2 shows. From 8 o'clock in the morning and an hour long. Shows were altogether different. Now, the shows are more and more involved. They used to have a lot of setups to do on a show on Sesame Street. And there was one guy, the head stage manager, Chet O'Brien. There was 2 stage managers, one Snooky O'Brien, one Chet O'Brien. And years ago, they were identical twins. Then now they look as they got older. And he used to set up all the trick shots ahead of time. He knew all the trick shots and everything, how to do everything. So he used to set it up and we used to do it. The shows went pretty quick. Sometimes we'd wait till 5 o'clock, 5:30. But it was altogether different today. Today it's much different. Today it's more, I think it's more precise. It's more precise. It's more knowledge to try to teach the kids. And I think we do a little more video than we did many years ago. It was a lot of talking. And some of the talking was probably unnecessary talking because they did come out. I never forget coming in one morning. It was like, we used to say it's going to be like a soap opera, the way they're cutting it. And on radio, there was some psychologist that said, Sesame Street, the kids don't understand this cut here, cut there, cut there, cut there. And that's why some of the shows were beating us out because they'd be on a wide shot and they just keep it there because some kids can't react that quick to this, to that, to this, and then they start easing it up. And we did a lot of songs. I think I saved Sesame Street in the beginning. We did a lot of songs, and the songs were magnificent. You know, singing Bob McGrath sang like there was no tomorrow. I mean, the other people sang too, Northern, Sonia, Luis with the guitar and everything. They sang Loretta. They all sang songs, but nothing like Bob McGrath. He sang songs he sang.
Are there any particular songs that stand out for you?
No, well, sing a song. Or La Di Da Di Da, what's the name of that song? You know, I wish they bring that back. I don't understand that there's certain things that I wish they bring back is a few of those different songs. I mean, I don't understand a 2-year-old kid today and a 2-year-old kid back in 1970 that would say, you know, what's the difference? It's still 2-year-old. 2-year-old, they're not brought up any different than back in the 70s, so why can't we have certain songs? They're always trying to invent new songs, which is good, because we come up with a lot of good songs.
I want to talk about a few memorable episodes. You mentioned Mr. Hooper. There's the Farewell Mr. Hooper episode, 1983.
What about?
What do you remember about shooting the Farewell Mr. Hooper episode? Where they
It
explained
was
to
a
Big
very,
Bird.
very sad day. There were two sad days. There was another one when we did with Snuffy that never aired. Divorce. But Mr. Hooper tried to explain to Big Bird was touching. As a matter of fact, I think I got tears in my eyes now. It was so touching. And it was unbelievable. We rehearsed and shot and to get it just right. And Carol Spinney did a magnificent job. He's really an unbelievable man. To make it all believable that, what do you mean? It was just, it wasn't a nice day on Sesame Street.
Were you able to do that shot in one take? Or were there
Oh,
multiple
I don't
takes?
think we did it in one take. No. Matter of fact, we used to have directors, no matter what, how good it is in one take, they always have to do another take. Just in case they see something or something. Even though they got 14 machines rolling, no, not now, not then. It was only a couple, just in case the machine that they do it again. But no, it was just a very sad day, and then between that take and the divorce take, which I don't think they ever showed, they never aired Snuffy, little sister, the mother and father getting divorced, and that was another touchy show. The little baby Alice. Snuffy's sister, I think it's Snuffy's sister, right? But Hooper, he was something. He was a man of all man. He was great. Oh my God. Never gave up. There was something about the cast on that show that never got tired. I never got tired giving autographs. Never got tired talking to kids if they were on a set because all the people that we used to have at one time. Then they start putting a kibosh on it many, many years after it because it was getting too much. But Carol Spinney, he used to take pictures with everybody. We'd be finished a scene and he'd be wiped out. He'd still be there. Oh, Carol, get back, take picture. He'd be taking pictures, our break is over, come back, and he has to be in the next scene. He just take off the costume and maybe, and rehearse it without the bird in it and everything. All that. He always, for the kids, it was unbelievable. For anybody who wanted a picture. That was what, I don't know if anybody that didn't do it on our set. Always. They were always there to satisfy the people. Even guys like me who wanted a picture with Carol Spinney, with Big Bird, and with Snuffy and everything, and really, always, it was really, they were a great bunch of people. I'm saying were because some of them are not with us anymore. But they still are, and some of the people that they had, Miles. And now we got this new person, Violet. She is a doll. Oh my, I don't know how old she is. I think she's 11. Oh, she could sing, she could dance, she knows every one of her lines. She comes in like, oh my God, she knows her lines, everything like that. She's really great.
Now, Sesame Street did an episode in response to September 11th. Do you recall that? There's a fire in Mr.
I don't
Hooper's?
remember that.
Okay.
Did we do that?
I think there's a fire in Mr. Hooper's store, and Elmo is scared to go back in.
Gee, you know something? I'll be honest with you, I don't remember that. I remember the hurricane that we did for days, that where Sesame Street gets wiped out.
Well, tell us about that.
And it was just that the hurricane hit. It's a storm, right? And it blew down Bird's Nest and everything. Oh, the set was huge. It was huge. Don't forget, when we did something on Sesame Street, even the wedding, when Louise,
Maria and Louise?
yeah, on the rooftop. Mm-hmm. We had a set on the floor. It wasn't on the rooftop, of course, And when it snowed, we had snow machines. We had snow machines like you can't imagine it show. Snow. I remember I had a shot one time. We did two specials, Christmas specials. One for Sesame Street, and the two were for Sesame Street, but one was a special only but it shown one. And we had Michael Jackson on it. And so camera one, Michael Jackson had to walk down the street and go to Oscar's garbage can, knock on it, and face this way. So I have to get Michael Johnson and Michael Jackson. And the snow on the street was this high, the plastic snow. They had to get stagehands, two stagehands with cardboard shovels, because you make noise, right, to do, because I had to get in. To go here to shoot this way, Michael Jackson. But when they said snow, it was snow. It lasted, no matter what it was, a couple of days, but it lasted for 4 months. The snow they're always sweeping snow. But you can never get rid of plastic snow. Never get rid of plastic snow. The setups, they had the hurricane, they had the wedding, they had two specials. We used to do a lot of specials. Did a lot of specials.
Same camera setups on the specials?
It normally was the same camera setup. On those, we never had the jib. Could have been a different look with the jib if we had the jib. Because I remember doing a lot of truck shots.
What's a truck shot?
What's a truck shot? Is that when you start on something and you start moving and you're trucking along to move the camera. We don't do too much of that today on camera, now and then, because sometimes we had to put plywood on the floor and put me up on plywood, or the other camera if it came from the other angle, because the floors were always not that great. The only floors we had good was 55th Street, where we had a studio. When we first was going into that studio, they redid the floors with concrete, as smooth as a whistle. That whole thing. So it was smooth. That's the only time we ever had really good smooth floors. And you can make a truck and come down and move it around and move the cameras around. Then we got good pedestals. Pedestal for a camera, the thing that goes up and down. And we got decent pedestals which go down, which they didn't make it for Sesame Street. That was the nature of the game. They made it where it went down, which was great to shoot Muppets. Because the pedestals we had, the stopped here, the lenses here, and we got to shoot somebody hanging out on the floor, and we had to go back further to do a longer lens so we could get a little more of the eye, or pick up the Muppeteer. It could have been a girl too, the Muppeteer, so we could get a little more eye level. So then they came down with a pedestal that goes all the way down. Oh my, it was our dream, so we could finally get down. But it also breaks your back, because you got to hunch over and then move. But the wheels were better. Everything was better. You can smooth it. You could pick it up with one finger and come up in the air. And it's just nice. I love being a cameraman. Do I want to do anything else? Maybe direct once. There was an old saying, the stage manager, Chet O'Brien, the old timer, he used to go to the producer, says, Lisa, he says, what? He says, Frankie wants to direct. He says, she looked and says, yeah, he just wants to direct once. He says he's tired of directing every show. He just wants to direct. He say, Frankie, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Because it was a learning game for a lot of people. Henson made that a learning game for the Muppets. Anytime he had Muppets, they wanted to try it. Throw them on Sesame Street. Make them do different things and stuff like that. And anybody who was good, they used to take him out. And then do his shows. Because he was always doing his show. His shows. And the same thing, a lot of people came from nothing and start coming up, directors and stuff like that. But you'll never see a cameraman doing anything else. I maybe know of a couple, maybe directed once or twice, not Sesame, other show or something else. No, you do camera, you stay there. You want to be a producer, then go through the rigmarole that you get to be a producer. Yeah, never do. But when they came out with those pedestals, we could move better. We used to have pedestals Oh my God, to go up, you had to hit an electronic button, and then it go up. Or go down, you had to push the button down, and then, but you made it. You did it. I had a pedestal I never forget. One time to go up, I had to crank it while I'm on camera. Crank it, but you did it. You learned it, and everything they made. That was really in school. School was great because you had to make things work what they had in school, and it was all freebies. It was all old stuff. School never bought any new stuff. They used to get old stuff. So the harder, if you mastered that in school, when you got out and you go like this, oh my God, it was like, oh, I hit the jackpot over here. So the same thing with Sesame Street. We didn't have the jib, and like I said, we didn't have a Chapman. We had the ghetto Chapman and the crazy. And now and then they used to put it was a pain in the neck. And everybody used to make moves. We used to make moves. At the end of the show, years ago, it was always one camera at the end of the show. And at the end of the show, you used to pick a shot and start on 1, 2, 3, and come out to the things and truck down the street and everything. And that was when they used to roll credits and go try to tire. You remember the tire in the middle of the street? And we try to go right through the center of the tire, to the garage. Oh, I love that look. I love that look. Now everything is plate thing and everything, which is good for the time now. Years ago, that tire look, yeah, I guess they're right. The tire is just, it's not like when we were kids and riding on a tire on a tree. Well, we didn't have too many trees in Brooklyn, but a tree grows in Brooklyn, right? But we used to move. We used to make more and more moves. Now, anytime there's a good move, give it to the jib. Give it to the jib, put track, and this guy can do wonders with the camera on a thing, it's smooth and fly and everything and get way higher. Way higher. And it's a better look. It is. It makes it smoother. They're looking for a Chapman guy. I was on Sesame Street. So I get a call and from a TD that was over NBC. And he used to be a TD on Sesame Street in the early days. My friend Brian. He was audio, TD, he was everything. He finally got a high job in NBC. So he says, Frankie, he says, a Chapman guy on a Macy's Day Parade quit. He said, he doesn't want to work anymore. He's retiring. He says, we need a Chapman guy. He says, we can't find any. He says, I know you. You do Chapman. Do you want to do Chapman on a Macy's Day Parade? I said, okay, what does it consist of? He says, Sunday, you have to come in for notes. Then Monday, because I can't take off, I'm doing Sesame. Every year we did it at the same time. So he says, and then it's Monday night, 6 to something, Tuesday night, 6 to something. The only day you got to take off is Wednesday, because Thursday you got off. So I went to Sesame Street and I says, listen, I got this opportunity. I just want to do it. And I says, Frankie, go ahead. And they got me out at 6 o'clock Monday and Tuesday. And we on 55th Street. I took a cab. I was there in 8 minutes to 34th Street and 7th Avenue. And we do rehearsal. And then on Wednesday, we have to do rehearsal all day long. Rehearsal. We start 8 in the morning. We don't finish till Thursday afternoon at 5 o'clock. We're there that many hours. And I'll be honest with you, it's a nice book. It's a nice book, and it's a glory job. It was one of my glory jobs that I got pictures of me on Chapman in front of Macy's Day Parade, with the crew. Over there, I had a crew of 5 or 6. They set up track from 33rd Street to 34th Street, and they had to push me. They had to push me. It wasn't a thing where it was electric with some of the Chapmans. So they had an old Chapman. They had to push me. And it was a great glory. It was a great glory thing for me as a Chapman. But Sesame Street let me go for the one day. They said, okay, no problem. And they let me go. Everybody agreed that I can go. And I was doing Chapman on the parade for quite a number of years. Then I get the call we're not gonna do Chapman anymore. We're gonna do a jib. We met these guys down in Florida. My friend Brian says that do jib, which made all the sense in the world. They get higher. The guy sits on a table with the joystick, and there's just one guy behind him going this way, like this, swinging them and everything. They're on communications, and they can get over the band. I couldn't get over the band. Mine didn't go that high. They didn't want to put it that high because they had no way to swing it. So I was on not a short one, but a good sized one. But I couldn't get over the band. I had to watch out every time. Well, my tongue guys, they're called tongue guys when they move them, had to watch out. And that's when the jib came in. Then they put me as relief. They said, we're going to put you in relief this year. So I said, all right. I did relief one year. And I says, enough for me. I says, okay, I did this guy's camera. But mainly the guys don't take relief. The guy in the jib took relief. He says, here, this goes up and this goes down and everything. I never did it before. And I sat at the table. I said, well, this is great. I usually break my backside on this show. Really. I said, and I did it, and it was great. I didn't want to get up. I said, good, take another break. You know, and I did. And I was sitting in the audience, nice and warm and everything. And so that's when that's when the jib came out. I met the guy who was sort of invented the jib, Bobby Jib Bobby or something. His name is Jib. I met him at the Glen Island Hall. We did the Glenn Miller, brought back the Glenn Miller band. And who was the host of the Glenn Miller, which shocked me because he was one of my great actors, Van Johnson and Anita Gillette. Now, Anita Gillette is married to an audio guy in ABC or NBC. Well, we did a week in that with Van Johnson. Oh, my God. He used to stay with the guys, and we did all the Glenn Miller songs. The band, the big Glenn Miller era. I don't know where it went. I don't know what it was for, but I had the greatest time of my life. Then Sesame Street came, and Sesame Street bought a jib. They bought a jib, and they says, all right, Frankie, you got to learn it. Why do I have to learn it? You got to learn it. I tried. I couldn't do it. They used to leave the lights on me and leave the video up during lunch hour. I couldn't do it. I do it. I couldn't do it. I couldn't master that. I couldn't get anywhere near that. I couldn't make a move. For some reason, wasn't my cup of tea. I could not do it. Then finally, I don't know what happened. One of the other guys, this guy Dave, started doing it, and he was doing it. And then they brought in, after, I don't know how many years, they brought in this guy, Sean. They brought in this guy, Sean, one time, and he made moves that nobody ever seen before, because he knew. It was his own jib. And he knew what he can get and everything. He was a pro at it. And yeah, because the other ones always had problems and everything, and nobody knew, nobody cared. But this guy owned the jib, so he also went to jib, and he get cameraman too. And he made moves that you can't imagine. So then we kept the jib all the time, and Sean eventually got hired to do all the Sesame when he wasn't busy.
And how big is the camera crew on Sesame Street? How big is the technical group, the camera crew?
The technical
on Sesame,
crew?
Yeah.
As far as I know, it's about 14, 15 people. Mm-hmm. Tape, video.
Now there's a Muppet Frank Biondo as well, right?
Yeah, what happened is they created, when I used to do the shows, one year they surprised me and doing one of my shows at the rap party. They created the Frankie Muppet. And they came up on stage, and who did it was Jerry Nelson. He did it. He could imitate anybody. Really. And he did it, Jerry Nelson. A voice, everything, played guitar. He was a fabulous man. And he did it and everything and all that. So who really pushed it for the show, they did it a couple of times. It's Kevin Clash. Kevin Clash was a great guy. So I couldn't touch the puppet. I couldn't, really. So they did one show where they made me do my voice. My voice. Get your t-shirts, get your... There was a race car driver, whatever his name was, t-shirt, and they recorded it, and then David Rugman did the Muppet, and they had a shot of, get your t-shirt with my voice, and he had it down. These guys can lip sync, the Muppeteers, they're fabulous, they're Rugman, all of them. Oh, you kidding? Ryan, who does Elmo now? Oh my God, they're all fabulous Muppeteers. And yeah, but they only pushed it a couple of times. And they pushed it, and Kevin was pushing it more. Then after Kevin left, it was gone. It was gone until last year. It didn't come back. They made it for my birthday. Ryan, who plays Elmo, he made me a Muppeteer for my birthday, for me. And it was funny. They said, he made it with a blue shirt. Now, the coincidence was, this is the first day of the season. First day of the season is my 80th birthday. So we come in and everything and all, and I can't hear. And they're going, oh, we want to thank this, we want to thank it. And it's Frank. I said, Dick, they're talking about you. He says, no, Frank, they're talking about you. I can't hear. What the hell do I know? I didn't have my hearing aid in, right? And then they presented me with a chair and everything, and then Ryan comes out, and he got... So now what we do is, Ryan and I talk, which we leave it in the studio. Every time the studio's down, it's by the Muppeteer setup, box where they fix the Muppets and everything, and they set up the Muppets for the next scene, and we keep it in there. And anytime it's down, Ryan picks it up and he goes around and he does, yeah. And he does it and everybody laughs and everything, and all that gets up and put it down. And that's what we use it for. It's mine to keep, to bring here home. But if it does the trick. So, matter of fact, I didn't take it home this season. I didn't take it home because we're going to come back and they'll do it again. He always uses it. Ryan loves it as an out to make everybody happy, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you wrote a song for Sesame Street,
I wrote
too.
a song. I had an idea of a song that I think I used to sing when I was a kid. It was something like Sound Off, like the movie Battleground, which I loved. I used to watch every war movie in the world. I was in the Navy. I always guess I wanted to be in war, which, thank God, I feel sorry for the people who were in war. Really. I was one of those gung-ho guys, right? And I guess I start one day, yeah. I start singing a song. I said A, I said A, B, I said A, B, A, B, C, A, B, C, D. It was something like Sound Off because Jody was there when you left. You're right. Jody was there, something like that. So I said A. I said A, B. It was something like that. And I said it in the car one day. And I said, it's not bad. I says, let me go to Mike. Mike was our musical director. And I says, Mike, I says, this is how I think it should go. I said, A, B, C, A, B, C, D, E, E, F, G, and he looked and he put some music to it, and he says, wait, they came out that afternoon. I did it on that afternoon. They says, yeah, we want the song. And they did it as an insert. So it was funny that I became a writer, songwriter. Oh my God, I had to join it was the best union in the world. $10 one time, and you never paid a nickel more. And that was how many years ago, and I keep track of it. All across the world, But it was a song, what I was trying to get at with the song is that when they wrote scripts, there's a story that every time I knew a new writer came on Sesame Street, and they would name me Norman Stiles, who was the head writer, great guy. And like I say, everybody's great. Everybody to me is great. I'm Italian. Everybody's great. So he's standing next to me, and then the writers that go over, who they go over? They go over to their boss, Norman Style. They go, and I used to turn around to another guy, and after the scene, I used to go, who wrote this shit? And the writer used to back up and go out there. I'll never forget Judy. May her soul rest in peace. She became top writer. Judy, can't think of her last name. Can't think of her last name. And she passed away. May her soul rest in peace. And she backed up, and Norman went after her. He says, no, he says, let me tell you something. He said, now I got to tell. He said, all my writers I tell, if Frankie doesn't say who wrote this shit, that really means it isn't any good. It isn't any good. So when I did my song, go back to my song, that's what I'm trying to get at, is that they recorded the song, and they had a great way of doing it with all the Muppets around and Miles in the middle. I don't know if you ever seen it. Mm-hmm. And Miles in it, wow. And I shot a couple of close-ups. No, they put the main camera. No, this is your song, but I shot a couple of close-ups. And then after it's finished, that's a bye. All the writers were behind me and say, who wrote this shit? And, yeah, it came. Kevin thanked me. It was the top song of, I forget what year it was, the 35th season. Mm-hmm. He said it was the top song of the 35th season, a lively song. And, yeah, I was a lucky man that I thought of that, too. Everything falls right. The newspaper, I was very lucky. I had a great family. And the paper that my father bought that time, because the other paper was out of. And lucky that the guy comes in with a limp. And I called and I got the job. Because he got the limp, he got hit by a cab. Who do you know gets hit by a cab in front of NBC building, And, I was very lucky they took the song. I was lucky I got on Sesame Street.
And that's been 50 years.
And 50 years. And 50 years, like I says, who's going to watch this shit in the beginning? There's Loretta Long always quoted me on saying that. And, my God, it done so much for the kids around the world. We did Sesame Shalom. They came here to do it. That was a little rough because we couldn't understand what they were talking about. We didn't understand. But we did it. Everybody was nice. There I go again. They were great people. They didn't want to go back. After we worked a couple of weeks with them, we did Shalom. I forgot what it was called. Shalom Sesame Street. I don't remember if that was the right name. Yeah, we did a lot of stuff on Sesame, and it became more and more and more popular. It's just that I was sort of PO'd when I got less and less shows. From 120, they kept going down and going down. And then I can understand it. One year, Barney kicked the hell out of us. Barney came on the air. And they made 13 shows. Of course, this girl asked her rich father, I want to do a show. And they did Barney. And Barney, kids loved Barney. But they played the heck out of Barney over and over and over again. Don't forget a 2-3-year-old kid has no idea what a rerun rate is. No idea. They say, yeah. They don't even know what the Barney's saying. And it beat us in the ratings. And I think it put a thing in their eye, let's make the show better. And drop the shows down. We went to 56. I don't know what period of time, from the 120 to 56 or less than that. And we kept going down to 20-something, and then eventually we were at where we're at now. I don't know if it's 13 or 15 or 18. But Barney keep that, and make the shows better, which I think the shows are so much better than in the beginning, because of the electronics of it, and what they can do. What they can do and how they can fly people up in the air, and a lot of green screen, a lot of blue screen, some blue screen, a lot of green screen, and what they can really do electronic. We couldn't do that. We couldn't do that years ago. And yeah, that's...
And the show now first runs on HBO. Has there been any shifts now that it's on HBO first run?
No, the only thing that we know is HBO. As far as I know, as far as the guy behind the camera, and we know, HBO give us money to do a show. It's the same show. It's the same. I see no change. It's just that PBS gets the show after HBO runs it for 6 months. Then they get the show. Now, I don't know what else they're doing. They have a new show coming up, but I don't know if I'm supposed to say that yet.
Is that the Elmo talk show you were talking about?
Yeah, not talk show or something.
Oh yeah, not too late talk show.
Yeah, not too late talk show. Yeah.
That's great. Okay, so you've been with the show for 50 years.
Right.
What are your current thoughts for how much longer you're still going to be on the show? Are you still going to be working for a while?
Well, I have a thing. I seen people come in on on our show, Sesame Street. We couldn't get the shots, and one guy in particular, he was sort of my idol back in the '60s, and we're talking in the '90s later on, and he was up there because he was much older than me, and he was up there, and he couldn't get the shot, and the worst thing for a cameraman, I think. Worst thing for a cameraman is to say, "Hey Frankie, go over there and take the shot for him." And I couldn't refuse. I look, I said, "Frankie," they had to tell me again, "Go over there and take the shot for him." And that, of course, he wasn't used to the Muppets. I was used to the Muppets. That's the only thing it was, because I got years of experience of screwing up, just like everybody else screws up. Nobody's perfect. And you learn what you can do and what you can't do, and what you could show and what you can't show. And he screwed up, and he just turned around and he says, "I guess it's time for me to retire." And I felt so bad till this day, and we're talking 20 years ago or more. And till this day, so how long I'm gonna work, I don't know. Every time I go in, we start another show in November, and I'll see. I go over and I can see if I can do it, I can do it, and I'll know. If I can't do it, I'll be the first one to walk out. I'm not going out like some people go out. I'm not going out that way. Yeah, I'm not.
What do you think is the legacy of Sesame Street? The legacy of Sesame Street. What impact has it had?
Well, the legacy of Sesame Street, I really think it brought a lot of people together. I think it did a lot for kids being with their mothers and fathers and watching television. There wasn't too much. The other legacy is, which might sound foolish, but it added a lot of shows on television for kids to learn. And they started it. Sesame Street started it. And the shows that I watch with my great-grandson from other places that you can watch with your grandson or your children. And that's a big thing. And I think if you go any place in this world, people know Sesame Street. They don't know everything else. They know Sesame Street. I was driving down Long Island Expressway one day, and I was on the phone, and I got pulled over. And it pulled me over, and I had my ID card here. And he says, "What's the ID card for?" I said, "Gee, I'm the cameraman on Sesame Street." He says, "You what?" He says, "I grew up on it." He says, "Here, this one's on Sesame Street." He says, "Don't get on the phone anymore." I says, "Wow." I said, "Oh, I think it's not only here in the United States, it's everywhere. We're in every country. Every country for every kid. And I think that's the legacy is that we brought more people together. You start talking to a farmer about Sesame Street, you're his friend. Automatically you become his friend. And you're talking to him about it. You're not talking politics. I mean, you're talking good times and fun and laughter. And it brought kids to learn, especially from these other countries. They're really learning. And our kids were learning in the beginning. They still are. They still are. Now they're starting, now they're starting preschools. They never had preschools in my day, well, years ago. Now they're starting preschools, I think with a 3.5 or 4 or something like that. And they started to make the kids earlier. They saw Sesame Street as, these kids are learning, so we better do something for the kids, all the kids. Sesame Street put a big dent in this world. And I really think it's a fantastic, fantastic dent that they put. Peace, everything.
What has it meant to you to be a part of that?
I never thought I have friends that break my chops. Every time we're with somebody new, he's the cameraman. Would you stop it already? You know, I mean, I don't look for that. I don't look for notoriety, you know, that I'm somebody. I know I am. I know what I did, that I was a very lucky man. And I'm not looking for anything. I'm just like I said when you see the Emmys, I had enough Emmys. Give it to the people. Every cameraman should have an Emmy. I really believe that. Every cameraman goes through their own thing, how they focus in or making a move on a camera. I think every cameraman should be an Emmy. I don't like all this Emmy baloney, the greatest. Nobody's the greatest. We're the luckiest. We were there when we had a good shot. You know, we were there. And it's not. Every Emmy I won, I'm sure there were other shots I did 10 times better. Nobody ever noticed it. So every cameraman and every little station, they have their own feeling about their camera and everything, unless they don't like it. You get a cameraman that likes camera, you know they're going to feel it and everything, and they're going to enjoy it and like it. Not the guy that does camera, and he does audio this day and that day, and this day and that day. No. Be a cameraman. I did that, you know? And that's it. Give everybody a freaking Emmy.
What do you like about it? What do you like about doing camera?
What I like about it? Just the feeling. The feeling. Some of it's tough and it's rough. Wow, but you make a move. And you know that move. You're watching that move. And you making that move on it. There's something about it, you know? And the beat. I'm very particular. Years ago I was particular. When I used to make a move, we used to do more, did talk shows with Merv Griffin and everything and all that. We used to do more songs, and every other day there was somebody singer, and we used to start with them in the bottom, and then, you know, or the top of the frame or bottom, and then zoom in and then time all the way to that, and you got to go with the beat of the song. And for some reason that's just a feeling that I have. I don't know if everybody gets that, but that I have. Wow, you know, and somebody says, hey, great shot. And that's all it takes. Great shot, you know, and feelings like that make me. I don't need anything else. A few dollars would help. No, I'm saying we get paid for it. But, you know, that's the feelings. And I really think it came from, I like musical so much is because when I grew up with, trying to grow up with music, and my mother yelling at me the same song 50 times, you know, and this other than doing camera on this show. It's rougher to do camera on this show, and that's why I'll see the way I am. You put human beings there, probably have no problem. But I got to keep an eye on both things, you know. I'm getting up there in age. I am.
So, do you have any advice for someone who wants to be a camera operator, who just starting out?
Well, gotta love it. If you don't love it, you're not gonna make it. You really gotta love it. You got a lot of friends out there doing talk shows and doing a lot of shows. See, I was one of the lucky ones that years ago to have variety shows and do, and and a lot of music. Now they do music and everything is boom, boom, boom. Cut this, cut this, cut that. Years ago, we didn't do that. Years ago, it was all, a lot of moves and everything. You gotta love it. Never give up. Never give up. And anytime you could practice, practice. I used to never forget when I was at the studio one time when it was dark that week. And the guys from my company says, "Gee, I wanted to do camera, I wanted to do camera, I wanted to do camera." So my boss heard about it and says, "You know what? This morning, why don't all you guys go to the studio? Don't need you. We go to the studio, and they put on a camera and everything, and they says, okay, Frankie, show them, okay, let's see what you can do, and, let's see, here's what you can do, here's how you do it, and everything." Because looking at that camera, it says, oh my God, it's very impressive. You look at any camera, it's very impressive. They got wires coming off it and handles and this and monitors and this and that and everything. They're all the same. They say, oh, what's the difference between it? Except when we had a turret. When we used to afford the 4 lenses, I was one of the ones that used to do with the 4 lenses. Or 3 lenses, that's still don't mind. 2, 5, a 7, a 9, and a 135. I think it was 4 lenses. And you had to turn the turret quick and focus. It was black and white. Oh, they had color in color too. RCA. I remember doing one on RCA. But it's so impressive. People, oh, you do that camera, look at it. Oh my God, it's big. It goes up and down. I mean, it's the same thing. It's the feel. You have it, and it's the feel that you have when you make the move. You can't just go like this because people will see it. Now there's a new show that I was looking at. Somebody told me to look for that, look at it, and everything. And they have a new show where everything is jerky, even on a close-up. They want it that way. I personally, maybe I'm from old school, I don't like it that way. I think it's my eyes. It's just distracting me from what they're saying or the set behind it. The sets in this show is fantastic, fabulous. I just don't like the shakiness of all that. But if you like doing camera, do it. If you like doing audio, practice on audio anywhere you could. Volunteer, anything, church, anything. Volunteer. Camera, it's very hard to learn. So I brought those guys down to the studio, and everybody says, cameras. Oh yeah, what's a camera, man? Oh, this, here, just do this. And I did one little move. Oh my God. They all try, I says, takes practice. I'm no hero. That was very easy, but it took practice. And that's what we got to deal with. You can't be up there shaky or anything. You got to know where. And then you also got to focus. You got to carry somebody. And at one time, I can carry somebody any place they want and be in focus. Now, oh God, I got to pray that I keep it in focus. Really. For the new guys, it's going to be very hard. Because the guys that are out there now, there's a lot of cameramen I know, they're all pros. And it's very hard to get onto anything on a camera. But there are stations that do not only camera, they do other stuff too. You can do boom, you can do taping, you can do everything. You can really do audio. And some places, they're not going to make you do lighting. That's usually a different union. But always keep up with it. Always try. You got to really love it. You got to put your heart into it. You got to like it like you like chocolate ice cream. I like chocolate ice cream. I used to like vanilla, but then I changed to chocolate. And I really love chocolate ice cream. So that's how much I like doing camera. It's just a good chocolate ice cream.
Is there something that you've done in your career that you're most proud of?
I really don't see me being. I, I guess I'm just proud that I got accepted in this business. I really mean it. And I got proud that people wanted me to do certain shows, and I did certain shows. And I got proud of people coming over to me and saying, "Hey, Frankie, great job." And and who would ever think that I would be doing the Macy's Day Parade on Chapman? All these years, I watched it from when I was a kid. I'm proud of that. I'm proud of 50 years on Sesame Street. And I'm proud of doing all the shows I did with Bobby Morse. I mean, Tony Randall did his show, Love Sydney, and everybody was friends. You're nice to them, didn't it? They're people. Just be yourself. If you be yourself, you're going to get along with everybody. Don't be uptight or try to be somebody else. Be yourself. And try to learn what you could. You want to be a cameraman? Be a cameraman. I wanted to always be a cameraman, and I practiced. I thank God here, no lucky stone. It was the World's Fair. If I didn't get that practice on the World's Fair in 64, that they put you on and you do everything. I had a band. Okay, you're on. I'm going to the men's room. And they just let you go and do this and truck and dolly and everything. That's how I learned. And all the different shows. I did more shows in that 4 months or 5 months that the World's Fair was open. Every day, every 2 hours, different show, different show. And you do this, cooking this, get tight, go this, go that. You know, really. So I was a lucky man. I'm proud that I met a lot of people. But I also met a lot of my friends, which is the same thing as being proud. I'm proud of my family, you know. I'm proud of being here talking to you. You would have never talked to me if I was nobody now. But I'm a nobody. I just want every cameraman to get an Emmy. That's my dream in life. And I don't want hunger in the world. I hate people being hungry. Really.
Okay, one last question that we ask everybody, and that's how would you like to be remembered?
Having a lot of fun. Frankie's all around. We have a lot of, and being remembered that we always had a good time with Frankie in the rap shows, and always try to make people laugh, and always try to be an up person. No matter what the tragedy, try to be an up type of person. That's all I want. Then to remember me that my grandson, I had a grandfather who was, you know, always make everybody laugh, and everything. That's all. Really. Not a great cameraman. You can never say you're great, because there's nowhere else but down. You got to say, and being a good cameraman, a decent cameraman, which we all are. You know, all the cameramen that I know. And that's all. That really, there's nothing really. That's all. That's.
That sounds good to me.
Oh, I didn't know what this. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for chatting with us today, Frank. It's been a pleasure.
You guys are great. There's probably another million stories that I wanted to tell, but
we'll get a part 2 later.
No, that, you know, the more stories, 55, 56 years I've been in the business. What, since 63, so what's that?
Yeah,
Say it, 56 years, right? I mean, since that, if you don't have more than 10 stories to tell, you're in trouble. You didn't do anything, really.
You've had some great stories here today.
Oh, yeah, they keep going on and on. Oh, yeah. There's probably a lot of stories I'll remember after you people left. After you people leave, I'll say, why didn't I say this story? That's a funny story. I did that last time I was interviewed. I thought of 4 or 5 stories that I really love to tell, and I thought of it afterwards. But
We captured a lot of great ones here. We captured a lot of great ones
oh,
here.
great, yeah. As long as you guys are happy,
We're happy.
and thank you for giving me the pleasure of telling my stories.
Thank you. It was an
Thank
honor.
you.